Medical news today, Very Well Health, Theraspecs, Migraine Central, Migraine Again, Migraine Canada, Migraine Disorders, American Migraine Foundation and Migraine Trust are all yet to respond to me. The Cleveland Clinic have now deleted their email addresses. These email addresses I found by I went to a website that said find the email addresses by domain name. They all were sent through on the 31st of May there. Since then, I tried to follow up on the 7th of June and all of the emails bounced back. Every single one of them email addresses bounced back to me. So I went to their website to see if they've got a new email address listed or if they've got a contact form. But it now says our webmail service is currently unavailable. We apologise for the inconvenience. I don't know if it always said that, but these email addresses did go through when I sent the first message. And I now do not know how to follow up with them because they don't seem to have an email address anywhere. So I'm having to leave that at the moment, which is a shame. But something weird is going on with these guys because I've never known a place not have any way of contacting them. I'm not saying this is just because of what I'm sharing, by the way. I'm just saying it's weird, isn't it, that you've got a website like this that doesn't have the ability to send them an email. So I'm not sure what to do with these lot yet. They got the first email, I'm assuming, because it went through to all those emails, but they never got the second. So, yeah, not sure. But we did actually get some responses this week. So let's go through them. First up was the Women's Hemiplegic Migraine Alliance. So this was after the second email I sent. So I sent the initial one and then the follow-up. And I got this response on the 8th of June. They come back and said, "Good morning. Thank you for the information. I am not going to include this on our website. However, if you feel this has been helpful to you, you should consider starting a Facebook group to share it with. Thank you," and then the person's name. So I responded back a few days later on the 11th of June and I said, "Hi," their name. "I feel like you may have misunderstood the message I sent based on the language in your response. So I just want to make one thing 100% clear. I'm not saying that this diet has been helpful, because that's what was mentioned in their email, yeah? I'm saying that it has completely stopped my hemiplegic migraines. It has now been over a year since I've had one, and since first developing the condition, I've never experienced a period this long without one, not even close. This is full remission, and that's not an exaggeration. If you knew how bad I struggled with hemiplegic migraines, how I was often unable to leave the house for days, even weeks at a time, if you knew how bad I was with this and how it destroyed my life, just like it is for everyone else who suffers from it, I don't believe you'd be so dismissive. I believe you created or are involved with this organisation because you want to help people who suffer from this. So I refuse to believe you'd want to keep them from finding out the root cause, even if it only worked for 10% of your followers. Again, I'm not saying it'll work for everyone because I can't test that, but it really did work for me. And I spent over a decade trying different things that didn't work. It worked for me so it can work for others. And I know I'm not the only one. Others have already contacted me saying they've started connecting the dots too. I'm not suggesting this diet because of a bias. I hate the diet. I'd rather eat the food I enjoy, but I hate hemiplegic migraines more. And so does everyone who suffers from them. Please reconsider your position on this, Dan." Now, I just want to clear a couple of things up. Hating the diet's a bit strong. I love the diet because it has fixed my health and given me a life that I started to think maybe I could never have. So I'm very grateful for the diet. So hating it was a bit unfair to say, but I was just trying to get the point across. If I could eat whatever I wanted and still have my health improve like this, obviously I'd rather do that, but that's not an option I have found. This thing about it only working for 10%, the reason I said that is because if there was something that did have a 10% success rate and it was something like diet, surely everyone would want to try it. And I don't know, it might work for everyone. I mean, all these people keep telling me it might not work for everyone. I don't know that. It works for me. And all I know is when we search for like how to cure hemiplegic migraine, all we get is there is no one-size-fits-all cure. Combination of treatments to help manage the symptoms and reduce the frequency. Well, I found something that has completely stopped them. So, you see the point I'm making? even if it was only to completely stop them for 10% of people, that would still be something that surely you would want to bring to people. So anyway, that's the Women's Hemiplegic Migraine Alliance. That's what they're at the moment. I'll let you know if we get anything back. The Migraine Association of Ireland got back as well. So they come back to me and said, apologies for the delay. We are a small organisation with few staff. Many thanks for reaching out and letting us know of your experience. And it is so wonderful to know that you have experienced relief. We will forward the information relating to the Lion Diet for consideration to our advisors. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. We had a similar email to this, didn't we, from one of the others a while ago. So anyway, I went back to them on the 13th of June and I said, thank you for getting back to me. To be clear, this isn't just relief, it's total remission. If you could please keep me in the loop with what your advisors have to say, that'd be much appreciated. Very important we get this life-changing information out there to help more people suffering from this condition. Just to be clear, I'm not asking you to promote this as a medical certainty or treatment for everyone. All I ask for is a simple, honest statement on the page saying there has been at least one reported case of complete remission from hemiplegic migraines following a strict elimination diet known as the Lion Diet. Thank you. I'll look out for your update, Dan. I'm gonna leave them this week. Just give them a little bit of time to get back to me, see if they follow up, and then maybe we reach out to them again. These were okay. So these never got back to me. They got back to me before, but then I followed up on the 7th, and they never responded since then. And then the Migraine and Headache Australia, they got back to me. So on the 11th of June, I got this response. So they said, "Dear Dan, sorry for the delay in getting back to you. Thank you so much for reaching out and sharing your personal experience with hemiplegic migraines. We're glad to find that you have found something that has worked so well for you, particularly after such a long and difficult journey. Hearing that you have been able to find such significant relief is both inspiring and encouraging. At Migraine and Headache Australia, one of our ongoing challenges is that migraine management is highly individual, as you know from your own experience. What works for one person may not work for another. And there are many different treatments, therapies, and lifestyle changes that have been helpful for individuals in the community. As an evidence-based organisation, we focus our website content on approaches that have undergone scientific research and peer review. So we can provide information that is as broadly applicable and medically sound as possible. That's not to dismiss your experience in any way. In fact, your story highlights an area where more research is still very much needed. Dietary approaches, including elimination diets, certainly have helped some people with migraines, but the individual nature of responses makes it very challenging to present personal experience as general advice, especially when we don't yet have broader studies to reference. We do have resources on our website discussing dietary factors and trigger management in general. And then they shared this link, which is about self-care and trigger management of migraines in general, not hemiplegic migraines, but migraines in general. And from their table of contents here, we have most common triggers. They have sleep, dietary triggers, dehydration, exercise, stress and anxiety, caffeine, environmental factors, hormonal triggers, other head and neck triggers, medical overuse, deficiencies. You've seen my other videos, I'm assuming, where I mention about sleep not being the cause, as I've regularly gone without periods of, I've gone long periods without sleeping, and I've been absolutely fine. The dietary triggers, they're talking about things like chocolate, coffee, alcohol. Well, I never used to drink alcohol anyway. I tried cutting out coffee, I still got hemiplegic migraines. Chocolate, I never had for years, was still getting hemiplegic migraines. Citrus is another thing I believe they were talking about. I would very, very rarely ever have citrus, and I used to get hemiplegic migraines all the time. And I mean, I went, we're talking about 4 or 5 months without citrus. So I know it wasn't that. Those things in particular, yeah. Let's just go down and have a quick look. And then MSG, that's something that I avoided for a big period of my life. My dad used to always go on about this, so I avoided it. Obviously now I also avoid it because I'm just carnivore and mostly lion diet. But I know it wasn't MSG either because I didn't have that and I was still getting hemiplegic migraine. So none of these things were relevant to me. So yeah, that's what that page says. And like I say, this is general migraine. The word hemiplegic, if we just do a search on here, isn't mentioned on the page at all. So it's just general migraine information. And we're always looking to expand and improve our resources for the community. We will certainly keep your experience in mind as we continue to develop future content on the role of diet in migraine management. Thank you again for your passion in wanting to help others. It's people like you who make the migraine community so strong and supportive. Kind regards, their name. So I went back to them and said, hi, while I'm happy you're pleased for me, your response comes across as either polite deflection or you've missed my point entirely. To be clear, and then I've just shared a quote from my original email to them, I am not asking you to promote this as a medical certainty or treatment for everyone. All I ask for is a simple, honest statement on the page saying, there has been at least one reported case of complete remission from hemiplegic migraines following a strict elimination diet known as the lion diet. You've alluded to the point that this may not work for everyone, which I believe I also clearly addressed in my above statement, which is the one we just read. And also when I said, and these are some more quotes from my first and second email to them, the fact it worked for me means there's a strong chance it can work for others. I asked if you could include it on your website to try to help others who might have the same root cause. I'll also add that by that logic, not wanting to add something that might not work for everyone, you'll need to remove a considerable amount of information from that page you shared, since nothing there worked for me. Except for the lion diet, which you currently do not mention. The page you sent over is also not specific to hemiplegic migraines. It discusses general migraines and groups diet into triggers instead of root cause. Finally, to be clear, this has not provided significant relief. This is what they said back to me, wasn't it? That they were pleased that I had significant relief. This is total remission. And I would expect people like yourselves to be very keen to bring that to others. So here's what I propose. Instead of keeping my experience in mind as you develop future content, edit this page. This is their dedicated page that ranks in Google for hemiplegic migraine and also influences AI. And simply add the statement, there has been at least one reported case of complete remission from hemiplegic migraines following a strict elimination diet known as the lion diet, though there has been no scientific research or peer-reviewed studies to confirm this. This can easily be added to the end of the Outlook section. So their Outlook section is right at the bottom here. It ends with, you may not be able to avoid familial hemiplegic migraine attacks if FHM runs in your family, but managing triggers and working with clinicians to minimize attacks and treat acute symptoms can lessen the impact of the condition on the lives of people with hemiplegic migraine. So I'm saying, just put it after that. Just put it here. Then I went on to say, this addresses your concern around misleading readers, as the wording makes it absolutely clear that no peer-reviewed research has been conducted to support it. I'm saying that, but I don't know whether there has or hasn't been. I just know that it really did work. But I'm just saying that because they told me that. Just to be clear, I don't know whether there has been any studies on this. They told me that, and that's the only reason why I've said to say it in that way, because that's what they've just told me, okay? I mean, if they did study it, they're definitely going to find a connection here because that's exactly what was the cause for me, okay? So then I went on to say, I'm freely giving you the information I would have given anything to have had 13 years ago. I don't stand to benefit from this in any way. I just need you to help me get this in front of others who are still suffering. So if you're not willing to add this to your page, and your response wasn't just polite dismissal, and you genuinely are thankful for me reaching out, what will you be doing with this life-changing information I just handed you, Dan? And we'll see what they come back with on that. So that's everything. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this email off to all of these people who are yet to respond to my 2 emails that I sent them, I'm going to send them another email that says, "Hi, this is my third attempt to reach you regarding information that could significantly change lives for the better. I've now been free from hemiplegic migraines for over a year after more than a decade of suffering. There is currently no known cure for this condition, but I found one that undoubtedly worked for me. I'm not asking you to promote this as a medical certainty. I'm simply asking you to include an honest, factually true sentence like, there has been at least one reported case of complete remission from hemiplegic migraines following a strict elimination diet known as the Lion Diet." If we don't get this information out there, many people will keep suffering unnecessarily. Could I please get a response? Thanks, Dan. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to send this out and I will keep you updated on what I get back. Cheers.